It is the off season, y'all, so let's dive into one of the most infamous rivalries known to figure skating that involves Olympic rivalry, as well as a splash of black magic. But before then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more figure skating related content. Evgeni, Plushenko, and Alexei Yagudin's rivalry has spanned for several years. One of the most well-known things is this beautiful fluff piece that came out from the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics. I'll admit, I still laugh at this to myself today.
With their nails done now.
And so, kind of backing up a bit, who are Plushie and Yagudin? So, if you're watching this, you probably already know who they are, but briefly, Plushie is a 4-time Olympic medalist, 2002 silver medalist behind Yagudin, 2006 gold medalist, 2010 silver, aka also known as platinum, and a 2014 gold in the team event. 3-time world champion and 7-time European champion. Many of us know him though as doing the sex bomb routine. I'm telling you, that stuck with me for years. Like, I was a kid watching that going, that's happening. And yeah, it never left me. Yagudin, he is the 2002 Olympic champion, 4-time world champion, and 3-time European champion. And the many things he's known for is his winter program, which is a thing of beauty. So looking at the history, kind of what started all of this rivalry. So both skaters trained in St. Petersburg, Russia under Mishin, and he is a coach known for his technical expertise, and he's known as a professor due to his technical knowledge, his position as a university lecturer, and he has a book, man, on the biomechanics and jumping techniques. I tried so hard to find like a translated version of this books in my university I worked for's database, and I just couldn't find it. So if anyone has a copy, let me know and where to get it. So back then when they were skating together, Yagudin was a senior student, and he was already winning medals at the world level. And then Plushenko just kind of busted into the senior scene. And like, Plushenko was known as this prodigy when it came to jumps. Like, he was already landing quads. And there was all kinds of early friction because as Plushie began to rapidly rise, Yagudin felt that Mishin was favoring Plushenko and just not giving him enough support, despite the fact that he was the reigning world champion at that time. And there were even rumors that they were speaking to the media and saying things about how Plushie was better than Yagudin. And so there was some tension after Yagudin lost to Plushenko at the Russian Nationals. But what really stood out also was Yagudin felt that at the 98 European Championships that Mishin was unhappy that actually Plushie didn't win, and he said that he was left in a kiss and cry alone. And so eventually he ended up leaving to go to Connecticut and be coached by Tatiana Tarasova. At the time, she was known to be a pairs and ice dance coach, and now we know her as someone who often appears in Russian sports news, providing her opinion about many things. And not only was there this tension among the two skaters, there was also tension among the coaches. In fact, Yagudin at one point had said in the press, he said, "Plushenko and I are not friends. It's a huge fight at every event, and it's not just us. Our coaches fight each other and use us as weapons, and so it's hard to mentally compete against one another." And so on, like, the battle for the medals kept happening. Yagudin won in 1999 and 2000 world titles. Plushenko won the 2001 world title. And that's where kind of things started to get a little bit more hairy. So after Plushie won, Yagudin then dropped 18 pounds in 5 weeks. He stopped eating. He felt like that was going to help him win and be able to do jumps more, but it backfired and caused him to crash into the boards at the Goodwill Games. By the way, it's been forever since I've watched any Goodwill Games, so I need to kind of dive into that. But back to this. So he almost quit skating, and then Taratova decided that she was going to have him see a sports psychologist, and I know I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm just going to put his name up there, and I apologize. I tried to find the correct way to pronounce it, and every website was leading me astray. So he is this mysterious sports psychologist, and it makes me as a psychologist laugh because there's just so much like witchcraft and black magic around him, and I'm like, of course the psychologist in this story has this oddity. And so he's known for like pushing rivalries and potentially black magic, and he's also rumored to not be a real psychologist, and I tried to look that up. Couldn't find that anywhere really, and I can't really figure out how to verify licenses. Like in the US, it's so easy to find if someone had a license or not. I mean, this man was teaching also, I think, as a doctor of psychology, so he may have really been legit, but had interesting ways of practicing. So the interesting thing though is many people believed this man had like magic powers. In fact, Mishin at one point had even said that with a stare, this psychologist was able to cure his son's fever. So put a pin in that. This brings us to the 2002 Olympics. So leading up to that, there was so much rivalry and so many websites where I could find like people talking about them going against one another. And that, of course, that beautiful fluff piece that I still giggle about that I already mentioned. And some felt that Plushie had the advantage because of all his quad jumps. And so I'm pretty sure Plushie went into this feeling pretty optimistic about his chances. But then, as fate would have it, during his short program, he fell on his first quad jump. And what we find out is that this mysterious sports psychologist was standing across the rink watching intently. And so what I've gathered from reading like bits and pieces of like articles and this beautiful post on Reddit, which I will link to, and pieces of like the memoirs, is that both Plushie and his coach felt like there was some like black magic voodoo going on. So like Plushie in his memoir, to kind of just summarize it, basically said he felt as if someone ordered him to open up, go to the landing too soon. And then he felt like he was being dragged by incomprehensible force. And then Mishin wrote, and this is to summarize it a little bit because it's pretty long, but only God may know what happened. Was it nerves or was it a hypnotic influence of like the sports psychologist? Sorry. And then of course, look at it, it was like, this didn't happen. So removing yourself from the black magic. What's interesting also is after Yagudin won the Olympic gold over Plushie, Mishin was like, oh, it's so nice that I'm able to have a former student on the podium and then have my current student on the podium. It was all like, this is so great. But Yagudin was like, no. For 4 years, so much garbage was thrown in my face, saying I'm not such a good skater. From that side, and then he pointed to Mishin and Plushie in real time. I was keeping that to myself until I actually won. And then he basically pointed out that like Mishin didn't really help him win and doesn't deserve the credit for the medal. And so you would think, okay, like after there's retirements, all this would settle. But in 2014, Plushie ends up going to the Olympics, the Sochi Olympics, and he is in the team event, helps them win gold, but withdraws from the singles event due to back pain. And that did not make Yagudin feel happy. He basically was like, hey, he should have went to the end. So it does seem like, to fast forward, that now the rivalry is not there anymore. Like every now and then you'll hear something like about like some subtle things, but more recent, in fact, there were photo op of them being like, hey, we're gonna do this competition in March 2025, but then it turns out I guess they got ghosted by the people who were supposed to do it. And then even more recently, Plushie had said that Yagudin was one of the best male single skaters in history, and like it was an interesting battle. His most recent rivalry that I know of is with Atari, but that's a whole different video and a whole different day. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this very brief kind of run through of this rivalry. Like, I am recovering from surgery, so I apologize that it's shorter than usual, but this is one of the many things that I did to entertain myself, was going down rabbit holes. I really just wanted to give an overview, especially that black magic part, because that really shook me. All right, y'all, don't forget to like and subscribe. Next week, I'll release a video about all the happenings of the off season so far. And then also I'll be going to Stars on Ice in Hershey, Pennsylvania.